Hello everybody, it's Narrative Tarot. This is your Mars 2021 for the month of March 2021 Mars reading. So this reading is for people who know their natal chart and think that Mars has a significant role in their natal chart, or that Mars's aspects, transits, things like that are having an effect on them now, that they have major lessons to learn, karma, dharma, whatever it is. So that's who this is for. You could also be for those who are Aries, sun, moon, rising, whatever, have that sort of energy. So that's that. Comment, like, subscribe. Commenting, liking just helps populate the video, helps people see it a lot more. It's recommended to more people, things like that. Liking it, again, it recommends to people. And then subscribing just keeps you in the loop. I do monthly planet readings, I do redemption readings, I do book reviews, and then other videos of where I'm just talking about stuff. So definitely just, subscribe. That way you know when I make them. I have coffee. Anyway. Okay. So generally I do two parts to the reading. So that is. Now I was debating whether or not to do two decks for you guys, but Crow's Magic, this is the deck that I use. And Crow's Magic doesn't get a lot of play. So I'm going to use it. Okay, so immediately with this, I'm getting that doing things, patterns over and over and over again would be quite not hard for you. There might be some benefit in doing things over and over and over again, or doing things the hard way or the old way, the way that you know how. It seems like there's a little bit of a confidence boost that's needed, right? So with that, doing things that are familiar, doing things that you know, doing things that boost your self-esteem might be very helpful in this season. So March is kind of half of Aries season. So Mars energy is probably needing that boost of confidence. So don't be surprised if you look for things that are familiar, things that I would stay away from like people in that way, like people that you're comfortable with, particularly like those from like relationships, so like exes and things like that. Like that may not be the sort of comfort that you need. You have to kind of figure that out. Are they comfortable, or are they like a bad habit? And that's something that might be, But if you do end up reconnecting, because Mercury retrograde is ending, somebody might like run through the door at the last minute and connect with you, and you might want to connect back. And so making sure that you're making a wise decision, because you have the Queen of Coins reversed, the Moon, and the High Priestess in the upper worlds. In the lower worlds, you have the Eight of Coins, Seven of Coins, Six of Cups. So just making sure that you are balanced and you're not one of those people that wants that old thing back, essentially. So that kind of person is like, they have a long list of like phone numbers. They have all these names, they cycle in and out. When one relationship's dead, they're going back to somebody else. Like, not messy. I don't consider you messy if you do that on a personal level, but I do consider you someone who can't move on and wants options, and kinds of, when something's going bad, you kind of like play the field, but it's like insecure. Like, I've done that before, and it's just kind of like, oh, I'm not getting attention from this person, let me text this person. And what ends up happening is always like backfires. You like don't get attention from anybody, and you're like, oh shit. You gotta like sit in the corner with the dunce cap on because it's just like, yeah, you tried it. So don't try it. You need action. You do need to be around people because these cards have multiple like creatures on them. Some of them, like this one does. The 7 of coins, the 8 of coins has, which is a moth and an owl, several crows. But you just need, you need to be around like-minded people, but you don't need to be necessarily around people from your past. Like the past. Oh God, like, is this something wrong with you guys talking? Like, I don't know. It just feels like I'm tripping up my words like more than usual. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's like just me thing, but someone from your past, it's like, yeah, it's familiar, but in a way that isn't conducive to you to grow. So like things that are like comforting and familiar to you could be like, you like savory foods. A past relationship would be fast food. So what you can do if you like savory food, find restaurants that cater to that but aren't fast food. Like that's an example. If you like to go out and sail, or you like to go out, yeah, like go out sailing, maybe not call the ex best friend that you had a falling out with unless you're patching it up to go sailing. You know what I'm saying? Like find new friends. Like you can keep your same like personality just with different people. You know what I'm saying? So don't be tempted to go backwards with people. Go backwards in terms of like the character that you have, and then move forward that way. Like the character that's a mainstay, the character that's innate to you, and go back, take that aspect of yourself, and then move forward, and then you'll find people in the present day to do that with, you know? So now with that rose magic, we have these. So we have the upper world, the lower world. Each pair is like sometimes its own story, and then sometimes a part of a larger whole. For Pluto, it ended up being a larger whole. So we have the Queen of Coins reversed and the 8 of Coins. So with this, it's like you need to learn to be intellectual, like, or you shy away from intellectualism or something like that. You shy away from it, but like you're missing something that would help you if you were to intellectualize it, or like open a book, you know? Like, yeah, if you open a book about something, you'll get more answers. So also, if you're studying for something, don't cheat. Because this Queen of Coins reverse and this 8 of Coins in the low world, you may not want to like study. And I think like you need to study. Like, don't cheat, because that's like not helpful, and that takes you back. That sets you back. One, you could get kicked out, and then two, it just sets you back because you're not actually learning the material. So when you get out into the actual world, you're not able to be Queen of Coins. You can't demand a high salary if you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you have a cert, people look at you like, oh, so you know what you're talking about. And then the answer is like, well, you know, I don't really know about that. Or like, because people are sneaky, they'll set up situations to where you have to show that you understand the material. You know what I'm saying? So don't get caught up in one of those situations where you get a certification and then you don't know anything, but it's because you like half-assed your way through or cheated your way through or something like that, because it becomes very apparent to the people that set the task, and like that's something that they may do to see if they're going to hire you long term. So don't cut corners. Make sure that everything that you do is well, as far as well is like good in terms of quality. Because it'll be just your luck that state boards come in, or they double check, or they make a call to your office, your school or something like that. You know, they have an email exchange with your professor or something like that. Like, just make sure that they're, you know, that everything is together, that you actually are earning what you are earning, and that you actually have the skills developed to do the practicum part of whatever it is. Because I feel like this is somebody who's doing like clinicals or something like that, something that has like a clinical practicum part to it. And so you need to have a base in theory, which means you have to like pay attention, and then you have to understand how this information connects to real world life. So if you're an engineering major, you need to know like all the theories about electricity and shit like that, but you actually need to know how to like work certain things so that you can use that knowledge. It may not be you use that knowledge in your day-to-day. You may have like more administrative roles, but knowing how it should go helps you. With this Queen of Coins, like I said, you being hired and you being promoted depends on your ability to use that knowledge, you know? Hold on, let me get some. Getting more coffee. I had a French press, so I'm like pressed for real. But yeah, making sure that you know the material, theory, and practicum is going to be very helpful for you. You might get promoted because of that. You may be the only one in your department or whatever that like actually understands what the hell's going on. And so you need to not be arrogant. You need to know your shit. You need to talk your talk and walk your walk, but you need to really like walk your walk. So walking your walk means staying up to date, making sure your certs are good, making sure that you study, making sure that you take the time out to learn about something. Make sure you learn about kind of like more interdisciplinary subjects. So making sure you don't box yourself into one topic that's related. Like, you can be a specialist in that this is the main thing that you do, but being a generalist in that you know about how other things intersect with this topic would be very helpful as well. This is a very career oriented reading. At least this one is. So yeah, you're going through a career shift that may be a little unsettling. You may fall out of love with your career. You may realize you want to go back to school for something. Congrats! I'm trying to go back to school too, y'all. But you may be wanting to go back to school for something. There may be something offered to you through your job, and so take the opportunity if you want it. Also, people looking at you and seeing your potential with this Queen of Coins reverse. Make sure that if somebody says they see potential in you to do something, that you don't like brush it off, like jump at the opportunity. I'm not gonna say jump at it, but seriously consider it, because I think it might be helpful for you in the future. So I think that's kind of it with that. And then we have the moon and the upper world, 7 of coins, the upper world. I don't know why I immediately thought of somebody with a dress, with a nice flowy dress, and I got my signal from somebody that I'm gonna be working with in the spirit realm. All right, thank you, girl. Thanks. But yeah, so making sure that you are connected, making sure you're connected, making sure you put the time and effort in. I don't know why you're babysitting. It feels like somebody's like babysitting or watching other children, like watching children, other children. If you're like underage, make sure your online interactions with people are like cool. Because you know, okay, so this is something that's kind of interesting, but like really serious. So, you know how they have like those webs, those to catch a predator moments. Make sure that like if you're talking to someone online that you know who they are, that you verify it. Like you could be talking to them while you're in a room full of people, right? So like there's a little bit of secrecy around who you're talking to. Just make sure that like this person actually is who they are. Don't meet up with them alone. Don't go out with them alone. Figure out who they are, reverse track their IP address or whatever. Whatever you gotta do, make sure they are who they say they are, and make sure that they don't pull you away with the Seven of Coins and all these things away from your actual responsibilities. So like if you find yourself stressing over like, oh, I gotta contact so and so, or they're making it increasingly like you gotta contact me at this time, you know, stuff like that. That's a dangerous relationship. It may not even be like a predator. It may be like a relationship that you have where you know the person. If they start to try and like occupy all of your time, like that's kind of a red flag, you know? So don't do that. But also, like I said, just make sure you're not getting drawn further and further away from your family, from your friends, things like that. Make sure that like this could be a time where, because it's Mars energy, like people are telling you be careful, be safe, and you like, I don't need to listen to you and shit like that. Like you might need to listen to them. Like they might, I'm not gonna say see something, but they kind of like maybe sense that something or someone around you isn't as great as you think. Be aware of like groupthink, be aware of like chat rooms, be aware of uh like closed and private groups. With this Seven of Coins, it could be a bunch of scammers in that group. It could be people offering like fucked up services, meaning like you give money and then like you don't get the service, or like you get it late. Just making sure your information is okay. But definitely staying away from like a lot of online groups, especially new groups. Um, Especially new groups. They may have a religious element with all of these symbols down here. They may not. They may be like, okay, so if you're a practitioner, because I was watching a video about this, if you're a practitioner with these religious symbols and stuff like that, or religious or whatever, make sure that like the group isn't in any like extremist kind of like leanings or teachings. I mean, if you're with that, then go for it. But like, if there are any leanings or teachings that are particularly extreme, violence, um, you know, things like that, then I think that you should stay away. Particularly because I said this in another video with like the Be Aware video. I don't know if I'll tag it or not, but be aware coming out of this Aquarius stellium, Mercury retrograde, and stuff like that. I kind of feel like people may have gotten sucked into things that they may find it hard to get out of, and so with the Seven of Coins, it feeds do just enough to keep you in there, but it's not 10, and it may be pretty hard to find the other 3 coins because you're constantly being led astray. Excuse me. And so, like I said, beware of like the chat rooms and stuff like that that lead you astray, that don't move you forward, aren't productive, keep you in the same questions, keep you going around and round and round. That's not really helpful to you. And so just making sure that you are aware of what you're going online for, what you're seeking, and things like that, because it could be very hidden from you what their motives are. But if you as a person and your shadow is not hidden from yourself, then you might be able to uncover it a lot better. And so you'll have a better chance of warding off or backtracking or getting out of situations that may be less than favorable. So, and then next we have the High Priestess. The High Priestess with the 6 of Cups. So somebody could be doing some past life like reflection, or you could be reflecting on relationships. You could be reflecting on your parents' relationship. You could be reflecting on like their anniversaries with necromancer and seer at the bottom. One of them could be like gone. Both of them could be gone, and you might be like doing some readings at this time. I don't know what time of the year, other than like Halloween, where people do talk to the dead celebrations. I don't think Cinco de Mayo is one. I think that's like related to like a war. The Dia de los Muertos is Halloween, right? I don't know. But you might be doing that. So you may be having flowers, you may be thinking back to your childhood as well. You may be thinking back to first love, young love. I feel like a lot of love. I don't know if that's coming off of Valentine's Day leading into, but young love, lost love, your parents' love, love that transcends the grave, things like that. All of that's like very important stuff. So just ride that out. I think don't get too lost into it. Don't read too much into stuff. Don't trick yourself into staying there because it's a warm, fuzzy feeling. This might go back to the idea of you want that old thing back from somebody, and then you contact them and you're like, okay, yeah, like I think it'll last a little bit, but there might just be, even when you're driving up to the place to meet them or driving up to their house or whatever, blah blah blah, like I've moved on. You may also, this is weird, you may also be like very painfully aware of like their face or their body, or like your eyesight is just really good to where like if you knew them when you were like 10 or some shit, like if they're like 30 or something, or 40 or however old they are, you're like painfully aware of how they've aged. And you may not like that they age. You may have issues with aging and getting old yourself, and that's something, so don't project that onto somebody. But you may be really aware of people aging. Like, wow, this person has like a lot of wrinkles now. Like you may say that too. So I'm just going to say you might be going through a crisis with regards to age and aging and things like that, and that's why you're going backwards. It's like, it's almost like trying to recapture your youth, but it's like you're doing it in ways that kind of brings out the childishness in you and not the childlike attitude and wonder and adventure and play. It's just kind of like this childishness that comes off as whiny, I was going to say insufficient, selfish, unaware. it brings out the more negative aspects as opposed to the more evolved ones, you know? So definitely just like think about that, you know? And then also take care of your kids. If you have any, take care of them. They might want some extra TLC. Okay, lastly, problem, solution, action. Okay, we have the problem, the Empress, solution, Eight of Wands, action, Two of Cups. So, and then the Emperor at the bottom. So the problem is that you may have a little too much going on. You may be sharing the love a little too much. I would say if you're somebody who has a lot of partners with this Eight of Wands, solution is to find the partners that are like the most pleasing to the eye, intellectually pleasing, physically pleasing, spiritually pleasing. You could be like polyamorous or polygamous or something like that. So, you know, you might think that having like a jungle, a whole ecosystem of people is like helpful, but what you need is like, you gotta realize like you really need to be with your own species. Like, you need to be with your own kind. But you need to find people that actually like match you with this too. So like the way you do get this Eight of Wands is you figure out who really is with you. And a part of that is figuring out who you are. With the Two of Cups, you have to figure out what the hell is in your cup, right? You have to figure out what the hell is in your cup, what the hell you have to offer, what the hell are you, where are you going for your water source? Where are you going for your water source? Where are you going to peacock, or where are you going to mate? Like, what are you doing with that kind of stuff? What are you doing? So you have to figure that out. You could be in a situation where there's more than one person not interested in you, but interested in the person you're interested in. So if that's the case, then with this Eight of Wands, this Two of Cups, you're really gonna have to know what you offer and what you bring to the table. Because with this Eight of Wands and this, I don't know if this crocodile, alligator, I don't know which one it is, but you have to like, you gotta fight. Because the Empress got a lot of stuff going on. The Empress got a lot of suitors and a lot of things and a lot of people. And if you're one of the people, then you gotta bring it. You gotta bring something to the table, and you gotta bring something that's powerful. So with that Emperor, you gotta bring something powerful. You gotta bring something that they don't have. You know, this could be a job too. You gotta bring something that they don't have for them to hire you, because there's a lot of people that want the job. So knowing who you are, knowing your strengths, knowing where you're going, where you're headed, your goals. And knowing your flaws also is really helpful, because like some people are like, oh, what's your flaw? Oh, I'm just so dedicated. Really? Like that's your flaw? Your flaw isn't that like you're kind of headstrong or something? Something like reasonable. I'm scrying with this cup. I don't know why I'm scrying with my coffee cup now. This is what it looks like. Just make sure that like with this like residue and stuff like that, just make sure that you don't leave a bad taste in people's mouths. Make sure that you don't cause friction or splinter people, or that they do that to you, make sure that you stay a whole person. Make sure that you're not compromising yourself so much that at the end of the day you're kind of fractured and splinter and you can't come back together. Because I know some people, depending on what kind of relationship they have with other people, they become drastically different to who they are to satisfy and appease and gain the affection and love of others. And what that's doing is creating such a splintering effect that it creates a really hard experience for the person who's doing that. And since they're experiencing such a hard fragmentation, it becomes hard for them when they really do find something that's worthwhile. Like, one aspect of them knows that, but there's like 12 other aspects that don't. That one aspect that does know it has to then like fight with the other 11 to get whole again. Get whole again to even be able to compete. So knowing yourself, knowing where you're going, know what you want, knowing your drive and things like that is going to help. Knowing yourself wholly and completely, or as whole as and complete as you are right now, as your trauma, as your pain, as your awareness, your consciousness, the level that it's at will allow you to, will help. So, understand yourself that more. And then the high priestess comes again. So yeah, knowing yourself, where you're going, who you are, will help you in the future. So thank you so much. I hope that you enjoyed this reading for Mars, March 2021. And I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye.